So in this video, we're going to keep looking at solving absolute value equations. But in this video, we're going to take it one step further. So remember we talked about last time, if we have the absolute value of x being equal to a positive number, then we split it into the negative and the positive case. If we have the absolute value of x being equal to 0, then x is just equal to 0. And if we have the absolute value of x being equal to a negative number, then there's no solution. So we're going to build on this foundation. And the way that we're going to do it is that in these problems, the problem might start off without the absolute value being all by itself on the left-hand side. So that's kind of always our first goal. So the first goal when solving an absolute value problem is get the absolute value part all by itself. So, for example, if we have the absolute value of w plus 14 being equal to 20, so right now you'll see here's the absolute value part, but it's not all by itself. There's this plus 14. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides to get the absolute value all by itself. So we end up with the absolute value of w is equal, whoops, that's kind of a bad looking equal sign, is equal to 6. And now I'm in this case, the absolute value of x, in this case we have w, is equal to a positive number. So I'm just going to split this into my two cases. So that that negative case and that positive case. So w is equal to negative 6 and w is equal to positive 6. So let's look at some more examples. I'll kind of come on a new page here. So all these examples are going to say solve. That's kind of the command that says figure out what the variables should be. So the first one we're going to do here is the absolute value of y minus 21 equals negative 14. So again, here's my absolute value. I want to get it all by itself. So to do that, I'm going to add 21 to both sides. And if we do that, we end up with the absolute value of y is equal to, so negative 14 plus 21 is a positive 7. The absolute value is all by itself. It's equal to a positive number, so I'm going to split it. So we're going to have the minus case, the plus case. So y is equal to negative 7. Y is equal to positive 7. We'll look at another example here. So maybe we had negative 2 times the absolute value of x equals negative 8. So again, here's my part with the absolute value, but the absolute value is not all by itself. This negative 2 is in front, and it's being multiplied times the absolute value of x. So again, I want to, oops, what happened there? Oh, I jumped a page. Sorry about that. So the absolute value of x there, so go back to my pointer. So the absolute value of x here is basically, I want to get it all by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. So when I divide both sides by negative 2, I end up with the absolute value of x being equal to 4. And then I can split that, right, into the negative case and the positive case. So we would have x equals negative 4 and x equals positive 4. And I have a couple more examples here. So let's look at 12 plus the absolute value of x is equal to negative 20. So again, I want to get the absolute value of x all by itself. So it's the 12 is being added, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So we've got the absolute value of x equals negative 32. So now if I look at it, the absolute value of x is all by itself. It's equal to a negative number. So because it's a negative number, remember from that case on the last page, When it's equal to a negative number, that means there's no solution. And you can't say there's no solution at the beginning. You have to get the absolute value all by itself before you can decide to say that. So I have one more example here. So what about the absolute value of t minus 22 equals negative 22. So again, I want to get the absolute value part all by itself. I'm subtracting 22, so I'm going to add 22 to both sides. So now, on the left-hand side, so the minus 22 and the positive 22 cancel out, so I've got the absolute value of t. And over here, minus 22 plus 22 is 0. And the absolute value of t equals 0, what that's telling us, remember, you just get one answer there, which is t equals 0. So the most important thing to remember is that you first have to solve for the absolute value part all by itself before you can do anything else.